Okay.
Meanwhile, you start the system's server, AD server, server 1, second VM and third VM. Okay.
Yeah, done.
Okay. Before going to the servers, we already discussed about one point, that local users, local group cannot be part of, cannot be member of. Okay. So these four basic things we need to understand. According to these basic things, you can understand different groups, concepts under domain. Okay. There are different groups are available under domain groups: security global, security universal, okay, domain users. These many groups are available in the domain controller. During the server installation, what we did, we created 3 users, right? User 1, user 2, and user 3. We created these 3 users and added to a local group. The user 1 and user 2, we added to different local groups, so that we understood that by adding to group, that particular user is going to get certain privileges. Okay. So why we are installing this particular Active Directory? This is a centralized database management for users and other objects. Okay. So how to add domain user? Now we have a domain controller. Domain user database is available. Now, how to use those users to log into different servers? To log into other servers, what is the primary thing? Whatever the server you are trying to log in, whatever the system, in even desktop also. You can notice, if you log into the desktop system, in desktop system you can see what is it part of domain, is it part of work group? By default, all desktop systems, if you are not going to add, generally in your home, whatever the system you are going to have, that system, it will show as a work group. Okay. So what we did, as soon as the Active Directory installation is completed, we discussed about what is a standalone server, what is a member server. Standalone server, in the sense, it is that particular system. It can be server or it can be desktop. That particular system is not part of any domain. That system, we call it as a standalone system. It can be server, it can be desktop. Okay. Once that particular system to member of a domain, then that system or server, we call it as a member system, member server. If it is a server, we call it as a member server. Okay. Generally, we are talking about servers. We are not going to talk about desktops. Okay. So what is a standalone server? What is member server? What is a basic requirement to add a domain user to a one particular local group? That particular system, that particular server should be member of domain controller. Yesterday, we did that, added one particular system to the domain. By adding so, it is member of domain controller. Okay. Before going to the systems, just understand, local user can be member of local group. We did that. In first system, we added user 1, user 2 to certain local groups. Okay. Next point, local user or local group cannot be member of domain groups. This is the first basic point. Okay. A domain user can be member of local group and domain groups. How it is going to happen, we'll see now today. Okay. Domain groups can be member of local groups. These 2 points. A user can be member of domain groups. Domain groups can be member of local groups as well as and other domain groups also. Domain group, a certain domain group can be member of local groups and other domain groups also. These are the basic things. Okay, I'm going to show you only one point, that user 1, user 2, how to add to a particular domain group. After which, that particular domain group, how can we add to a member server local group? A member server local group. You should understand what is member server by this time. Member server is nothing but that particular system, that particular server is member of domain. Okay. Please understand these 4 points. According to these basic 4 points, once you are into working on Active Directory, if you are working on AD architecture, if you want to understand more on Active Directory, to groups and the relation between different domain groups and local groups, you can explore the knowledge by doing the practice. Okay, if you are not adding, if you are not able to do certain action, just Google it, how to add this particular group to other group. By using this basic information, you need to explore the knowledge. Okay, I'm not going to confuse at this moment, so it's up to you learning more on this groups concept whenever it's required in our enterprise environment. All administrators are not going to work on Active Directory. Why I'm discussing here, Active Directory components are basic components. Why? Because it's a day-to-day work. If one user is not having access, other users able to access. That in the sense, we need to compare whatever the user able to access, whatever the user is not able to access. We need to check the members, group permission for both the users. If the both users are belongs to same department, so whoever able to log in, we need to verify what that particular user member of what all the groups. We need to cross verify whatever the user is having a trouble. Just is that particular understanding, it gives this particular basic information. Okay, as a part of day-to-day issues, day-to-day addressing day-to-day troubleshooting issues, these basic points are very much important. And at the same time, this Active Directory installation and concepts also very much required for our day-to-day system administration. Who are going to be a subject matter expert for AD, they need to deep dive on this concept. A lot more is there in this ID. Okay, please share the screen. So what we are going to do, we have systems. One is domain controller, the other one is a member server is there as per yesterday's installation. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare both the systems. I have a user 1, user 2, user 3. What I'm going to do, I need to log in by using user 1, a member server, how to log in. User 1 is available on a domain controller, but that particular user I should use by login to that member server without adding that user to a creating on a local system. I'm not going to create a user 1 system, user on a local system without creating a user, how to get access privileges on a member server. That's what we are going to discuss now. See here, if you see here on domain controller, there are user 1, user 2, user 3. Okay, we already said that user 1, user 2, user 3, the default password, that is VMware at 123. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a try this particular member server. Am I able to log in with user 1 or not? Okay, go to RDP, try to do RDP to the member server. Now what is my member server here? 12. Okay, I'm trying to log in member server with the user 1. User 1 is not available on a local member system. Okay, just give a try and see. the logon attempt failed. Whatever the server is we are trying, the logon attempt failed because that particular user is not having a privileges to log into that particular server. What we need to do, either this particular user one should be, this domain user should be member of a local group, that is first thing. If not, this user one can be member of one particular domain group. That particular domain group can be added to the local group. There are two ways to provide privileges to this particular user one. What I'm going to do, first I'm going to give a try adding a user one to a particular local group on a member server. Go to Open Server Manager and member server. Open Server Manager. Expand configurations. Okay, users. Under users, do you see user one? I'm not going to create a user here. What I'm going to do, I need to get a access for user one to log into this server. So what I need to do, I have groups, right? Go to groups. What are these groups? It is a local groups. So I'm going to provide as a privileges. Say for example, remote desktop users. Consider that. Go to double click on remote desktop users. Click on add. See here. Previously, we used to get a location information only one system, only local system. While adding user one in first lab, while we're adding a user, we created a user. After that, we provided a permission on a local system. Here, if we select a location here, click on location. I'm going to get two different options, administrator. See here, I'm going to get two options. One is a domain controller, one is local system. My intention, my requirement is to add a user one, a domain user to a local group. Okay, I'm not going to add a server to this particular local system. Okay, click cancel. I'm already there on the local group on the member server. Just I'm going to add a user one of lab.com. So where the user is available on my domain controller. So type user one. As soon as you type user one, it is going to check where it is going to check whatever the location we provided there. It is going to check there. Okay, click OK. See here, as soon as we added the user, how it is going to show lab/user one. Okay, click apply. Click OK. Now give a try to log into this. What we did, we added a domain user to local group. Okay. Now give a try. We added a user one, domain user to member server of local group. Okay. So we should be able to log into this server. Why so? The login attempt failed. Okay, just a moment. Go to domain control and reset the password of user one. Go to properties first. Go to account. We need to check is a user is unlock account. Okay. Is there any password have expired or anything user disabled or anything we can see here. Okay. Here it is there lab LBA. Okay. Okay. Cancel. Right click and reset the password. Okay. Give a try now. We added the permission, we have provided the privileges of user one to that particular system. Okay. So that in the sense, one rule, whatever the rule we mention, a domain user can be member of a local group, where the local group is available on a member server. Okay. So whatever action was did, now we are going to add this particular user, domain user, added to particular domain group. Why we need to do? Because in enterprise environment, there are different users. Okay, it is not going to be a single user, domain user. Okay, for example, I have an environment wherein finance department is there. Finance department, there are 100 users. So I'm not in a position to provide privileges each user. Okay, so what I'm going to do, whatever the finance department servers or systems should be logged in by only finance department users. No other user should be not in a position to log into those systems because it's a critical data. So how to restrict that access, how to control that access? It is not possible to provide permission for each user and all those things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create whatever the group is available. I can add user to that group, or else I can create a domain group, a simple domain group. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a group on a domain controller. Once that domain is created, group is created, I'm going to add user to that particular domain group. Once that is done, whoever members of that particular domain group can able to access to wherever I'm going to add to the server. Okay, now what I'm going to do is log off the system. Log off. First, what we did, we added an individual user, domain user to a local group. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a domain group. Once domain, how to create a domain group? Why we need to create a domain group? The purpose is here, we have a different departments. Each department should able to log in their respective servers or systems. Okay, how to control that privileges? So I need to create the requirement groups. Finance department, HR group, okay, health department. There are whatever the groups are available, whatever the users are available, according to that I am going to create. Okay, create a group, right click on user, right click on users, right click on users. Yes. New group. See here, I told you if you created access, there are different types of groups are available. By seeing the screen, what group we are going to create? If we have an Exchange server, the distribution group is different, security group is different. Now I am going to provide a privileges. I need to control the privileges. That reason we need to select a security group type. If you want to distribution list, like mail SMTP server or Exchange server, then I need to select a distribution. If you create a distributed group, I'm not in a position to provide privileges on that particular group. That group purpose is different. That is to send communication, mail communication to set of users. Okay. So what my purpose is, requirement is, I'm going to provide a privileges to that particular certain users. To add all those users to that part of that particular group, I need to have a group name. So I'm going to create a group name called finance, group name finance. Okay. Here, group scope. Group scope in the sense, is it a domain local or a global or universal? You need to understand this concept by going to internet. What is domain local? What is a global? What is a universal? Domain local in the sense, if you have a Hyderabad office, if you have a Bangalore office, if you are creating a each site one domain controller, domain local is belongs to Hyderabad domain controller. Okay, global group is belongs to entire environment. Wherever the finance department, they can log in entire global, the top level. Okay, universal, what is a universal? There is a different function. You need to understand this group of scope. What is the scope? Domain local in the sense, only that particular site domain controller. Okay, by default it is only one domain controller. It doesn't matter whatever the action you are going to select. I am going with a global. Leave the default settings and group scope and group type. Okay, group type should be security and group scope should be environment level. Is a local site and a global site or a universal. For each group, there is a scope and there is a boundary, limitation. How many domain controllers, what are the sites they can access. Okay, click OK. So we created a finance group. Now what I'm going to do, point number 2 or 3, a domain user can be part of a local group of member server. We did that. Now what I'm doing, a user 2, one of the user I'm adding to this finance group. How to do so? Go to finance properties, right click, properties. See here, there are types of available. General, members, member of. Member of, if you select, this particular finance group can be member of, this is a domain group, right? This domain group can be member of other domain groups. Okay, that's a concept here. So what I'm going to select, members. I'm going to add a users to the here. Go to properties, finance group properties, select members, add. I can add a user here. I can add a other domain group here. Okay. What is my intention is here? I have two users, user 2, user 3. I'm going to add those two users to this particular group. Add those user 2 and user 3 here. Type user 2. Check. Okay. Add user 3. I can add number of users at a time also. Okay. Click OK. So what I did, I have a users, user 2 and user 3. Those users members of this finance group. Now this finance group can be member of other domain groups, or this finance group can be member of local group. What I'm going to do is, previously I added a user 1 to this remote desktop user group of member server. Now what I'm going to do, this finance, what is this finance group? It is a domain group. This domain group I'm going to add to the member server of local group. Okay, click OK. Go to this particular server, member server. Okay, click on remote desktop users. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to add previously added only user, domain user added to this particular local group. Okay, remote desktop group is available on my local system. That is my member server. Okay, so click on add. Now type finance. Check name. Provide administrative credentials. Click OK. See here, you should understand. Previously added a user. The symbol representation see here. Lab user 1 is representing a single user. The two icon is different compared to user group. Okay. Lab/finance. Am I able to log in lab/finance? No. Whoever members of this finance group, those users are able to log in to this particular member server as a remote desktop user. If you are going to privilege administrative privileges, where should I add this group? This user should be member of administrator group, wherever it has to maintain. For example, finance system or HR finance team or admin team. Only, for example, finance team is able to perform certain actions on the system. As an administrator, I need to perform administrative tasks. I need to change IP. I need to change the system configuration. Then what privileges I should have on this local system? I should be part of domain administrators. That particular administrator group, whatever the can apply, click on apply. What I did, user 2, user 3, or click on OK. User 2, user 3 is part of remote desktop users. If I want to make that users as a admins, what I need to do, that same group, I can create a group or same group can be member of administrators group. Okay. What I'm going to do, now I created a finance group on this domain controller. If I belongs to admin team, administration team, what I need to do, I'm going to create one more group on this domain controller, say system admins, okay, Windows admins, or Linux admins. According to their requirement, according to their privileges, we need to provide permissions, and we need to add respective group to the respective local group of the member server to get certain privileges. Okay, we'll see user 2 and user 3 able to log into this particular system or not. Okay, try to RDP this particular member server. We are trying to log in. I didn't add user 2 and user 3 directly to the member server. What I did, I created a domain group and then I added those users to domain group. After that, what I did, that domain group I added to member server of local group. See, user 2, without adding individual user, I'm able to log into this system. So in enterprise environment, what is the basic function? It is going to use number of users are available. It is not possible to assign permission for each individual user. What is the purpose of Active Directory? It is a centralized management. If that particular whatever the user we are going to create, that user while joining to the environment, he is representing some department. So by default, what they are going to do, they will create a user and they will add that particular user to respect to domain groups so that they can perform, that particular user can perform certain acts, the certain task wherever it is applicable. Okay, this is entire domain architecture, where the systems are available, what are the users are going to use, everything I can control from the domain controller. Okay, as soon as you are going to join in an environment, organization, they are going to provide certain credentials. You are a member of this particular user. You are going to use this user to log in these systems. That in the sense that user is created and they created a password. Okay, and by default, that particular user member of certain groups to perform day-to-day activities. If you are part of finance department or HR department, according to that, you are going to access certain systems. If you are joining as an administrator, you need to manage servers. So you are going to add certain group so that you can perform administrative tasks on that particular server. I hope it is clear. It is what you need to understand basic concept here. What is a user, local groups. Okay. That local groups, local users, what's the difference with the domain users? What is the scope of local user scope? Local user scope is limited to only that particular system. Okay. Whereas in domain users and domain groups, what is the scope? Whoever member of this particular domain controller, okay, without adding that respective system to the domain, I am not in a position to log in domain users on that particular system. For example, if I am not going to add, there is a system number 3. Okay, log into the system number 3. System number 3 is not added to domain. It is a work group. Okay, we'll see. Am I getting options to add users and other things? Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect system number 3 and see. There are certain limitations. We need to fulfill that requirements, then only I can use. Login locally. It is not member server. It is not member server. It is a standalone server. Okay. Administrator. Here one thing. Just a moment. See here below it is showing us a domain. To our domain, there is an option. Option is called dot slash. Dot representation belongs to local system. Put dot, simple dot slash. See, as soon as I mention dot slash, the domain place changes to system name. Okay. To log into the local system to avoid domain logins, what we do, either we can mention server name or we can mention IP address slash administrator. Okay. Or else simple dot slash is a dot slash belongs to it login. I'm going to user local system credentials. Okay. Just mention the password. Okay. Open server manager. How to check is it a member server or standalone server? Okay. See here. This system is part of, what is this? System name something is there. What is it? It is part of domain or work group, standalone server. By seeing this, I can say that it is a member standalone server, work group. Let's see, am I able to add domain users to this particular system or not? Go to configuration, users and groups. Groups. Select any group properties. Try to add. See here, location. If you click on location, what are the locations are going to come into picture here? Previous server, only one previous server, I got two options. One is local system, other one is domain system. Now here, it is a standalone system. because of standalone, I'm not going to get any option, only one option. If I get one option, am I able to add the users, domain users? Am I able to add domain groups? No, because it is a standalone server. To add domain users to get privileges on the system, what is the basic requirement? We need to change the system name and we need to change the DNS setting, and then we need to add to the domain controller. Then only I am in a position to access domain users on this system. Okay, we'll do once. Click cancel, change the system name to something, check the domain DNS setting. What is the DNS? Today it is going to complete this AD concepts. Okay, a little more is there. OU organizational units. Okay, one more command, anti-DS util. Properties, set the IP address 10, 10. Okay, click OK. My AD server is 10. That's what I mentioned, IP address 10, DNS server IP address is 10. Okay, click on change system properties, change. I'm going to leave the system name as it is, doesn't matter. Okay, click on domain, lab.com, provide admin credentials. If possible, we'll discuss today OU, what is OU? Okay, what is anti-DS util? Anti-DS util is a command to manage Active Directory FSOMO roles. What is my role? Click OK and restart the system. So this is now member of the domain. Now this server, I'm going to call it as a member server. Till now it is a standalone server. As soon as I add it to domain, it becomes as a member server. Okay. Lab, I haven't added any users. So what I need to use administrator account only. Lab/administrator. Once I add it to log into the system, I'm going to add users, user one, wherever you want. Okay. That user one also can be part of any other group. Now instead of adding a user one, I'm going to add the finance group here. If you want to add the other finance group, okay, what we need to do, I can create a number of groups, okay, on this domain controller. So once the domain control is added, so what we need to do, whatever the users you want, that users should be member of certain domain groups. Once that is available, I can add domain groups or individual domain user to this particular member server. Close this. Okay, open server manager. Okay, go to configuration, users, groups. Okay, select any group. These are the local groups. Any local group, am I adding the user one or user two or user three? I can add users, individual users to this local groups, or else I can add a domain group to this particular. Okay, so properties, add. Either you can add user one and finance both together. Select user one. Okay, finance. You can put a colon. Okay, finance check names. So what I did on a local group, I'm able to add a user and domain group. This is a way we need to add a permission, provide a privileges to respect to domain users or domain groups. Okay, this is a concept. Okay, how the systems are going to provide a privileges in enterprise environment. They are whatever the user we are going to use, that particular user is going to member of certain domain groups according to their department. Okay, so they are going to get certain privileges to perform their day-to-day task. Okay, click cancel, log off, go to domain controller. Log off. So what I'm going to do here, expand the domain controller. See here, what I did, we created a finance group. Now I am able to create users. I'm able to create a group. While creating a group, I'm able to see that what type of group it is, what type of scope it is. Okay. Now, what is OU? OU is nothing but organization unit. Right click on the domain. You right click on users itself. Right click on users itself. Okay. See, click on new. We see here different options are coming here. Okay, I can create a user, I can create a group. Okay, how to create a OU? Am I getting an option here? So right click on domain controller, lab.com. See here, click on new. What options I am going to get here? A group, I can create a user and the domain controller. I can create a groups. I can create a user on the main domain controller. Okay. Here, what is the organization unit? What is OU? What is the purpose of OU? Create an organization unit, select organization unit, select give Hyderabad office, Hyderabad, HYB, HYD. Okay, click OK. See here, now I created a Hyderabad. I can create a Bangalore. I can create a Mumbai. What is this purpose? We discussed in the first session local policies. Here, I'm going to define this group policies. How to group policies? What are the systems are part of this Hyderabad office? What are the systems are part of Hyderabad office? What are the users are part of Hyderabad OU? I can implement certain group policies. For example, ICICIbank.com is having number of systems, but consider ATM, consider a cashier desktop system. Both are systems part of ICICIdomain.com, but cashier system is going to get some applications, whereas an ATM system is going to pop up some application. ATM system is only dedicated for cash withdrawal, cash deposit, whatever it may be. Whereas in the same under ICICI.com, in cashier's place, they are going to open certain applications to perform their two operations. Okay, what I'm going to do, ATM, I'm going to create a ATM OU. Whatever the systems are part of ATM OU, by default, I'm going to implement certain group policies. That group policies are not going to interfere other OUs. Okay. Why purpose of this OUs? Organization unit is purpose. Click on OK. Organization unit is the purpose of control the privileges to implement certain group policies. Local policies are whatever the security policies, group policies are very topmost policies wherein they can configure, they can restrict each and every action on your member server or a member system. Okay, on a member server, I should not open desktop. Only it has to open certain application as soon as I log in. That is possible only through group policies. Okay, we talk about local policies. So group policies is available on a domain controller. Okay. How to go to the group policies? What are the settings? You can explore the knowledge. I'm not going to cover that. It is a vast subject. AD itself has under AD how to create different sites and domains, different trust relationship between one domain control to other domain controller. Okay. All those things concepts comes in this particular AD, Active Directory. It is not a simple, it is a vast subject. Okay, so the basic things is what you need to know: what is Active Directory services, what is the port numbers, what is FSOMO roles, okay, what is roles of in each one importance, okay, and then what is OU, what purpose of OU you are going to create, what purpose of groups you are going to create. Now, if you right click on Hyderabad, I can create users, I can create a groups, everything I can do. Whatever the actions I'm going to create here, on this particular OU, I'm going to implement certain policies according to organization requirement. Okay, why the purpose of creating OU is to restrict to certain area. Hyderabad office is going to have certain limitations. Bangalore office is going to have certain limitations. Similar, how to control that? To control that certain privileges, certain actions, they are going to create different OUs and then they'll implement certain privileges, how certain policies. How it is possible? By applying a group policies. They are going to create group policies and that group policies they are going to implement on the respective OU. Okay, so we need to understand all these things by understanding local users, local groups, local security policies. Once that is understand, then we are talking about centralized management. Under centralized management, what the concept Active Directory come into picture? What is Active Directory? What is FSOMO roles? What is Directory restore mode password? What is OU? All these things comes into picture. Finally, the group policies. Okay, group policies are very vast subject. If you without knowing, if you made some mistake, it implements entire organization. Okay, they cannot log into system, they cannot perform certain actions. Okay, these are group policies. Apart from this Active Directory users and computers, there are different options: sites and services, domains and trust. Sites and services in the sense different replication between site to site. Okay, domain and trust. We have a different domain controllers. Now I will talk about only reliance.lab.com. I'm going to create lab.1.com. Between lab and lab1.com, how to establish trust. That users how to log in with other domain. Other domain users how to log in my domain controller. That comes under domain and trust. These all things are managed by Active Directory administrator and group policy administrator. Okay, whatever the knowledge we gain here, it is very limited knowledge, basic knowledge to understand the concept. Okay, if you are not understanding these basic concepts, you are not in a position to understand the deep drive, that is additional components. Okay, I hope it is clear. A little topic I'm going to cover tomorrow, that is NTDS-util. That is a command to see what is FSOMO roles on this particular server. How to see is another day-to-day administrative task. Okay. For today, this is the section. So you have to practice. You have to understand what group is member of other groups, what user member of other groups. Okay.